North, a critical player in the Nigerian project, hereby declares that it will no longer be disposed to coexisting with the IGBOS and shall take definite steps to end the partnership by pulling out of the current federal arrangement.
Kaduna State government takes exception to the fact that the northern youth did their irresponsible press conference in Kaduna. Like I explained to you, our concern is the fact that the so-called press conference that herald the so-called Kaduna Declaration actually hold here. This government has been consistent in taking action to punish hate speech and incitement. People who may feel unhappy about irresponsible comments or actions that have taken place in other states must know that two wrongs cannot make a right. And they cannot use our state to do or say things that threaten peace of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Kaduna State government has therefore ordered the arrest, investigation, and prosecution of the signatories to the statement of yesterday.
Group issuing statements that is capable of stabilizing the polity and then being responded to by another group. I think it's not just starting today, or it did not start yesterday. What I want to assure you is that the security authorities, the security organizations are very, very much on top of this matter.
Welcome back, everyone. Some breaking news that we are following for you right about now. INEC has made declaration that 5 more political parties have been registered, taking us to 45 in total of the numbers of political parties we currently have in Nigeria. You get more on that on Channels Television. Just stay with us. Welcome back to the conversation that we are having tonight on the nation's unity. The statement of the coalition of northern youth groups has left a rather sour taste in the mouth of a lot of people and a loud song of discord in the polity. Mr. Yinka Odumakin, spokesperson of the Fenifere Group and a legal practitioner, Mr. Ikichuku Ikeji, have been talking to us on the program. Before we went on that break, Mr. Odumakin, you did say that the implications of this is far-reaching, and some of these things you say have more psychological effect, which we could see the ripple effect in the coming days. But as it stands now, if you hear what that gentleman said and what has been happening in the streets of some southeast in the country, and what played out in the House of Representatives when the Southeast Development Commission bill was read and shut down, you begin to ask the question: what exactly is happening? Why are we having all this ethnic and regional tension recently?
Because it's a failure of leadership for the country. The stage where Nigeria is now, there's so much stress in the land, so much fighting, so much discord all over the place. What a leadership should do at this moment is to know that there are problems in the country. And by now, we should have seen the federal government now calling all leaders across the country. Nigeria is under stress. What do we do? But you had the Attorney General a few days ago saying that we cannot even, those are calling for restructuring, it's a tall order, you can't have it, you can't do it, and the rest of them. And that is what is empowering, all this what if you have leadership in the country, we should have addressed this drift. Look, the stage we are now is very clear. There are two options facing us. Either you want to go restructuring, you want to go Czechoslovakia, or you want to go Yugoslavia. What these other youth are doing is to take us to Yugoslavia. If we are tired, even if they think that we cannot restructure the country for all of us to be happy, and they want people to go their way. Let's sit down and discuss it in peace and go.
50 years ago, the Civil War started.
Yes.
47 years ago, it ended in 1970. That started in 67. And 50 years down the line, have we learned our lessons as a people, learning how to live together, that nobody won that war, nobody lost that war, and we're still having this issue. Mr. Odumakin, the issue that we're having today is not the same issue. And I want Mr. Ikeji to come into to this issue now. These are not new issues. We've always had this tension over the last 2 decades or more.
Absolutely. You see, the point is that no matter how good a structure is, or even a superstructure is, no matter how very beautiful you paint a house, if the foundation is faulty and defective, it is bound to go pull down someday. You see, the Nigerian situation today clearly has shown that Nigeria, as presently constituted, is defective and structurally unfair. It is structurally irresponsible, structurally defective, and structurally impossible to go anywhere. So the question you have asked me, the answer to it is that we need to go back, like Yinka has said. We need to go back to ask ourselves the very basic question. Are we really sure that we want to remain together as one? Because in 1914, Nigerians were not given the opportunity to decide whether they wanted to be one or not. Today, we need to ask ourselves that question. I want to take off from the presumption that we all will say yes. Because for me, I will say yes. But you must ask that question so that it will be a deliberate decision by the people.
When you say Nigerians were not given the opportunity to decide whether in 1957, when the Chief Antonio Nauros of this world and those nationalists were fighting for the independence of this country, those platforms were there. At the parliament, where people were discussing whether or not we need to be together. Independence of 1960 and today, I beg to disagree to a large extent that there are problems in every region of the country. And what we are seeing currently today, Mr. Odumakin, do you think is something that is of present leadership, or that something that we should tie to several years of leadership?
Like what Gruber said, we are still living on the basis of amalgamation. We were amalgamated for a section to subsidize the other one. And that section has taken it that subsidy must continue. Now today, the issues that confront us are very clear. Like he said, there is no, the basis, the foundation of our existence has not been properly defined. We need to define it. And if it cannot be defined, look, there are, take Yoruba nation within Nigeria, about 15 million people. How many countries in the United Nations are up to 15 million people? We can be neighbors. But they want to take us down the road of war, because what did northern youth or either big old men who call themselves youth have done? They are setting the stage for another program, for a war, and we don't want that.
Now the question going forward, just to find the thoughts on the program, gentlemen. What do you think is a solution to that? That tension that has been created by the statement of those people?
It's very easy. We've been calling for it. People, when you say sovereign national conference, people get scared. When you say self-determination, people get scared. But within Nigeria, there are peoples within definition of international law of indigenous people. These people need to self-determine. And in self-determining, you have to sell restructuring to them. You have to sell one Nigeria to them. And in selling one Nigeria to them, you must put in situations of justice. You must put in structures of justice in place. And if you put in structures of justice in place, you will find that it will be easy for those people who are self-determining to say, yes, we want to remain inside of this Nigeria under this system that would ensure justice. And it is simple. It is simple. If you look at the present geopolitical zones, I would like to call them geoeconomic zones, because you can disaggregate the present one Nigeria today and make them different regions into 6. You can share them into 6. Separate this, unbundle this federal government and release powers to the constituent units. That is restructuring. Right. You know, if you cannot bend a broom, you will bend it. So it is better that with these things happening today, Nigeria should bend. Nigeria should restructure. Nigeria should go back to the foundation, build a better foundation, and everybody would be happy to say, yes, he's a Nigerian. Or else, people will start believing that they are better being Igbos, or they are better being Yorubas, or they are better being Hausas and Northerners, as these people are, than being Nigerians.
Mr. Odumakin, your final thoughts on the program.
It's very clear. If there's leadership in this country, those who have made those declarations, they must be apprehended. If they are not apprehended, it is clear that what they are doing have backings from powerful quarters in this country. And they are setting the stage for an implosion that nobody can handle.
Mr. Yinka Odumakin, spokesperson of Afenifere, and Mr. Ikechukwu Ikeji, legal practitioner. Many thanks, gentlemen, for coming on.